Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy. Today is part 3 of my male romance recommendations, my favorite tropes. Today we are going to talk about first times. I love a good story about a guy that is coming into his sexuality, or maybe he wasn't sure before. He's been with women, but nothing has ever really sparked, and he realizes that he's attracted to maybe this certain guy. And I don't know, I love that in a story. I think it's my absolute favorite trope in a male romance. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is going to be the final episode, I guess. So of course I have 2 books that I've mentioned quite a few times on my channel, or rather they're both a series, but I really think you can read both these books on their own. I'll start off with Off Base. This is by Annabeth Albert. This is part of her Out of Uniform series. There's many books. Well, I'll say many. There's like 7 books in this series. I've read them all. I've loved them all, but this is my absolute favorite. This one and the second one are my absolute favorite. This, of course, is the first in the series. So, you know, if you don't want to continue with the series, you don't have to. This is the first book. Again, all these books absolutely can be read as standalones, but there will be cameos of the characters, but it's not like a prominent part of the book. There is each book I definitely think can be read on their own. So in this book, we have Navy SEAL Zach. Annabeth Albert loves her military men, and I love that about her as well. Zach has grown up in a home where his sexuality is expected to be a certain way, and he's known he's been attracted to men, but he's never really let himself explore that part of himself. So Zach ends up moving into I believe one of his commanding officers' homes that he needs fixing up, and the guy told him, if you can fix it up for me, you can live there. I don't remember exactly the story of how this house came into Zach's hands, but he definitely needs a roommate to help him pay the rent, and as well as someone that can possibly help him with the fixing up of the home. So in comes Pike. Pike is out and proud, more of your feminine gay guy. I love Pike. He's so much fun. The emotions and the intensity of their attraction to each other is just awesome. I love it. So like I said, Zach has never been with a guy. As him and Pike get to know each other, one day things lead to another kind of situation. Zach's had a really tough time on base. He gets a lot, he's sort of bullied a little bit, I find. It's not bad, but he gets it with some of his teammates, and he just came home one day and he was just really upset about it, and things just heated up between him and Pike. And I just love the story between them two. Next, of course, I think I mentioned this probably in every video when I talk about a male romance, but this is Against the Grain by Charlie Cochet. This is, I believe, number 5 in the series, in the 3rd series, but this is Ash and Kale's story. Besides Dex and Sloane, these 2 are my absolute favorite characters. This could be also a friend to lovers trope, because they start out as really good friends. When Kale comes into the 3rds on the force, he is like super attracted to Ash. Ash has always considered himself straight, although he has had a little bit of something that happened in the past that resulted in a tragedy within his family, so he's kept that part of him hidden into himself. Ash is he's such a fun character. In the beginning, you think he's gonna be like the asshole of the series, but he's not. He's such a huge teddy bear. He's a lion therian. I absolutely love him. You learn a lot about Ash in this book, and I loved it. And I loved how he secretly has something for Kale. He can't really, it's like he's pushed his feelings so deep that he can't really express his feelings for Kale. And in this book, you get their story of Kale kind of like having enough, and he's like, I can't just be friends with you. I love you too much. It's one of those kind of stories. So Ash kind of tries to stay away from Kale. Kale tries to move on. But you know, they can't stay away from each other. Not only are they really good friends, but there's an attraction there that has to be explored. And the sexual tension between them two is just off the charts. I love it. One of my favorites in the 3rd series, besides of course the first book, Hell and High Water. I love Against the Grain. Alright, now on to other titles that I've never mentioned on this channel. First up, we're going to talk about Fixer Upper by Devin McCormick. This is a really good one, y'all. I loved this story. The cover is beautiful. So this is Mikey and Scott's story. Mikey's never been with a guy. Scott is out and proud. One day Mikey's messing around with a chick in his brother's apartment. Didn't realize his brother's roommate was home, which is Scott. Things get really loud apparently, and Scott gets pissed off and like comes to tell him something like please, let me know if you're gonna like be bringing home a chick, because we're not having that again. And something happened, sparked in Mike's brain, and he just had this almost immediate attraction, but it wasn't like insta love kind of thing. He just thought the guy was super hot. So they end up kind of exploring things, between them two. Fixer Upper comes in where I think it's Mikey's sister buys a home where she needs to renovate, and Mikey goes in to help her, and then Scott also comes in to help, and I think that's how their relationship begins. At first it's just like, fun and games and exploring Mikey's sexuality and things like that. But then of course, if I remember correctly, a relationship forms. I know at the end of the synopsis, it's really cute. It says, it's just a cute, fun story. A steamy, standalone romance novel with no cheating, no cliffhangers, and a totally adorable happily ever after. So it's just a fun, first time male romance kind of book. I loved it. Next I have The Game Changer. This is by Kay Simone. I think this is the only book I've read by her. I need to look into more books by her because I really enjoyed this one. This one of course had to be when I was all into sports, male romances, but this is about a very straight football player and a very gay sports therapist. I'm gonna read you the synopsis because it's very small. Michael Rogers loses everything in 1 week. The quarterback is benched with an injury the same week his fiancée breaks off their engagement. Lost, hurting, and stuck on the sidelines, Malcolm must spend his days in physical therapy with the one person who refuses to let him get back in the game. Cocky Vance Coberly. Vance is out and proud in the macho world of pro football. As the top physical therapist in his field, flirting with football players is strictly out of bounds. But the rules of play all change when Vance meets Malcolm. Malcolm can't deny what he feels for Vance. But Vance won't be someone's one-time fling. Can a Hail Mary gesture save the deepest love Malcolm has ever felt? Super cute, super fun, straight to gay romance. I don't know what you would call those, but I loved it. Next up we have The Quarterback. I think I might have mentioned this before in maybe one of my videos, like many videos back, and just maybe randomly mentioned it. I don't know, but I know it's one of my favorites. This is of course another sports male romance. So we have beautiful Matt here. Matt is very much in the closet. He has been trying to keep his sexuality a secret as best he can. He hasn't been with anyone, but his closest friends never see him with a girl. So I think they sort of assume. But his friends end up taking him to a happy endings massage. And when he goes in for his, he's not excited about it at all. He's trying to figure out ways he's gonna have to let this girl down gently. And but in walks Trevor, a guy to give him his happy ending massage. And I think it just kind of takes him by surprise and also freaks him out just a little bit. He doesn't quite know what to do, doesn't know how to react. And I don't think anything happens that first time. He's just like too shocked. And but he does end up coming back. Trevor is a great character. I love Trevor as well. He's like tattooed, pierced. He's out and proud. But he also doesn't really want to be a secret boyfriend, but he agrees to sort of experiment with, or he agrees to show Matt the ropes, I guess. But Matt ends up going back to the happy ending massage just to apologize to Trevor. And I believe he makes an appointment, because I know he gets back into the room, and that's when things get heated up and Matt kind of experiences his first time with a guy. It's super sexy. I fell head over heels for Matt because he's such a sweet character, and I love Trevor as well. It was a fun time. So far, all these I've talked about, of course, except for Off Base and Against the Grain, or standalone romances. This is also a standalone romance. This is Come What May by A.M. Arthur. This was also a really sweet love story. This is another great coming into your sexuality kind of story. I'm gonna read the synopsis because it'll do a better job at explaining the book than me just telling you about it, because it's been so long since I've read this. I remember a few little things. I know one of the guys, Jonas, considers himself straight. He's also the son of like a senator or something like that. And then he meets Tate. Let's see, it says Jonas needs Tate. He just doesn't know it yet, or at least he doesn't want to admit it, because there's no way Jonas is gay. He's a straight, carefree, frat boy player, just like any good son of a conservative state senator. If only his struggle to convince everyone, especially himself, didn't leave him so miserable. No matter how many girls or bottles he drains himself in, Jonas can neither escape nor accept who he is. Enter Tate. He's smart, confident, and instantly sees right through Jonas's surly exterior. Sure, he's done things in his life he's not proud of, but he knows who he is and what he wants. And what he wants is Jonas. As their easy friendship intensifies into something more, Tate introduces Jonas to a life he's never known, one filled with acceptance and sex and a love that terrifies and excites them both. But some inner demons refuse to be shaken off so easily. When Jonas's old life barges in, he faces a shattering choice, one that could destroy everything he and Tate have fought so hard for. Sometimes love just isn't enough, and sometimes it's exactly what you need. It's just a very sweet love story between these two guys. Next we have Back Piece. This is part of a series. This is the first book in a 3-book series called Inked. What's it called? Hold on. Skin Deep Incorporated. I think there's another series called Inked. I don't know. But this series is Skin Deep Incorporated. It's 3 books. This is the first one. You definitely, they're all different characters, and I think some of the characters might make cameos, but just like in the Out of Uniform series, it's nothing that you have to read the other book to get what's happening in this book. But of course, this is the first one in the series. It's my favorite one. The other 2 are really good if you want to continue with the series, but I mean, you certainly don't have to. This could definitely be a standalone male romance. This is about, I'm gonna read you the synopsis again, because it's been a while. I do remember that this SEAL, I think he was also a Navy SEAL and also a virgin. So he knows he's gay, but yet he's not exactly out, and he's never been with anyone. No man, no woman, he's still virgin. And I believe he spots, I don't even remember the guy's name, but he spots this guy at a gym. Let me just read you the synopsis. Colin Spencer is a tattoo artist with a past he'd prefer to keep secret. Actually, he has a few secrets that he'd rather people didn't know about, which is why Colin doesn't do commitment. But when a shy sailor approaches him at a gym, Colin finds this guy pushing all his buttons. Growing up in a conservative family, then escaping with the Navy, Daniel Moore is an unsure virgin who feels like he can't share his true self with anyone. Seeing Colin and his tattoos at the gym are the sign Daniel needs to finally get those tattoos he's always wanted and maybe try his hand at flirting. As Colin and Daniel spend more time together, their awkward hesitations turn into a deep passion neither expected. But with both men harboring secrets, will their relationship be able to survive their insecurities and become something beautiful? Another super fun, sexy male-male romance by L.A. Witt. She also wrote Just Drive. I think I talked about that. I don't know if I've ever talked about Just Drive, but it doesn't really have a friend to lovers, enemy to lovers kind of trope. It's just two guys that met. But this was a really good story, and I think that's why I continued on with the series, just because I wanted to, because I enjoyed her writing and I enjoyed this one so much. I wanted to see what else the others books had to offer. And I believe the last book, Pounding Skin, is also a first time with a man romance. But this one just kind of was stuck in my head. When I came across the cover of it, I remembered how much I loved it, and I definitely want to share it with y'all. Next, but certainly not least, this is Up for the Challenge by Riley Hart and Devin McCormick. These two guys can write such good books. I highly recommend anything by these two guys. But this is one of my favorite straight to bisexual characters, male-male romance kind of story. So we have Ethan, who's some sort of like executive guy. He's very much about himself. He knows how to please a woman kind of guy. He's very proud straight man. And then in comes Sean. Him and Ethan meet one night when I think Ethan is getting mugged, and Sean comes to his rescue, and that's how they meet. And I think Sean drops his wallet or something and and Ethan picks it up and brings it back to him. But it's kind of an excuse to get to know the guy again, because they kind of talk to each other that night. And again, it's one of those, something sparks in his brain that he really thinks this guy is attractive. But you know, he doesn't really think nothing further on it, but yet he wants to see him again. So he goes to bring his wallet. Ethan goes to bring Sean his wallet back to him. But I like Ethan's little story in the synopsis. It's really cute. It says, "I'm not used to anyone having the upper hand over me, and in a single night, Sean Wright rescues me twice. That's why he intrigues me, why for the first time I want another man. I'm used to getting what I want, and I don't plan to let anything stop me. Only, he continues to get the best of me, and it only makes me want him more. When I start to see Sean's not just good looks, hot sex, and constant competition, I realize I'm in over my head, and I might like it. He makes me laugh, and he understands the pain I feel over my past, a pain we share. Even more than that, somehow Sean gets me, but I'm not going to lie and pretend that giving my heart doesn't scare me." It's just a fun book. I love how these two guys Sean kind of helps Ethan explore his sexuality and how being with a guy can be really good. And also the deep feelings and emotions they have, not only for each other, but just separately as the characters. I loved this book so much. It's one of my favorite straight to buy kind of male-male romance stories. Alright y'all, that is it. That's all I got for these male-male recommendations that I haven't maybe mentioned before in my channel. I hope you came across something that you loved. If so, let me know in the comments below. If I haven't mentioned anything that maybe you read, let me know also in the comments. I'd love to check out anything new. I know there's a lot out there that I just haven't read yet. But this was so much fun putting all these books together for y'all and talking about them. It just makes me happy. It's one of my favorite genres. And like I said, I hope you found something in these recommendations that made you happy as well. So next up, we're going to be talking about what I'm going to be reading in June for Pride Month. I'm going to take that month and read nothing but male, all my favorites. I have a list. Well, we'll talk about it in my next video. As always, thank y'all so much for sticking around and watching with me today. I hope everyone is staying healthy and happy as we're opening up in the world. please still stay safe. All these books that I mentioned today will be in my description box below, plus anything else you're looking for, social medias, if you want to join Book of the Month, if whatever you're looking for, it's down there in the description box below. Hugs all around, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.